Hi JoshGen ladies, I'm Nicky and I'm married to Lahana. We're from the George congregation. This week we're continuing with the topic of a wise woman builds her house. Proverbs 14 verse 1 says, a wise woman builds her house, but with her own hands the foolish one tears hers down. Today we're going to look at the power of our tongue to either build our house or tear it down. This is what James 3 says about our tongue. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole person, sets the whole course of his life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. The year before last, the mountains above George caught fire, and they burned for 2 weeks. We went to bed the one night and saw a small flame on the top of the mountain. And when we woke up the next morning, it was completely out of control. A lot of damage was done. That fire was started by someone burning a pile of rubbish in a small town on the other side of the mountain. Thousands of railway sleepers smoldered to nothing as sparks blew in the wind and landed on them. And James says that our tongues are like this. The words we speak and the words we hear quickly become our thoughts, choices, and actions. And before we know it, the whole course of our life is on fire. James identifies these small sparks that set our lives on fire. Bitterness is anger or disappointment at being treated unfairly. Envy is discontent or resentment because of what someone else has. Selfish ambition is a strong desire to do or achieve something. Disorder is confusion. It's the opposite of godly order. And evil practice is sin. If we build with these sparks of fire, they will set our lives on fire. We all remember a time when these things were true of us. Just last week, I had to apologize for something that I said to someone. And that's why James says that we all stumble in many ways. If anyone is never at fault in what he says, he is a perfect man, able to keep his whole body in check. But James also describes something beautiful. He says from verse 17 that the wisdom that comes from heaven is first of all pure, then peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. Sometimes we find ourselves trying to build our lives with these sparks of fire. We find ourselves angry because we feel like we're being treated unfairly, or envious of someone whose life seems easier than ours. Maybe we're frustrated or irritable with our husbands, and so there's disorder in our home, or we find ourselves in a sinful habit. I want to encourage us ladies to be quick to confess and repent. Go to Jesus and let him wash us clean. Phone a friend or a leader and get them to pray with you. Sometimes we realize that we are throwing sparks of fire onto someone else's life by speaking to them about these things and encouraging them to think the same way. Repent. Say you're sorry. And sometimes we realize that someone else has thrown sparks of fire onto our life because we've allowed them to speak to us about their bitterness, envy, sin, disorder. Be quick to repent. Let Jesus forgive you and wash you clean. And then let's put on our walking shoes. Let's go walk in the mountain and enjoy it rather than setting it on fire. Let's be extravagant and lavish in our speech. Let our speech be pure, peace-loving, considerate, submissive, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and sincere. If we build with this wisdom that James has given us, we will build well with our tongues. Don't forget to look for other messages like this in the JoshGen YouTube channel in the Anchored playlist. Bye, ladies.